I want to talk to you about the Dream for All program. I know there's a lot of stuff going around on social media right now, but I want to give you a bit more of a transparent version of it, not just the Instagram headline. So basically, it's a program designed to help first-time buyers in California with their down payment. Now, it's not necessarily structured as a down payment assistance loan, but more so a shared equity loan. And so the headlines will tell you there's no interest on the portion they give you and there's no monthly payment on it. And that's completely correct, but it's also not free money. One of the things I want to make really clear about the Dream program is the fact that it is a shared equity loan. It is not a down payment assistance loan. So it's not structured the way traditional down payment assistant loan options are structured. You're not going to have a monthly payment on that money that they're giving you or any interest accrued, which is great, right? It's almost as if it's free money, but the reality is they're giving you that money up front because they want a percentage of the appreciation later. So if they give you 20% today, they want 20% of the increased appreciation at the time that you sell or refi, or when the loan's due in full in 30 years. But they're going to make money on their money. Consider it like an investment, right? You go to someone, you're like, hey, do you want to buy this property with me? And you invest and I give you X amount of return later. That's kind of how it's structured. So you want to make sure you understand not just the benefits of today, but also how it's going to impact you later. Quick example, you buy a property, easy numbers, $500,000. $100K is the Dream program. $400K is your primary mortgage. You have absolutely no equity in the property. Okay. So when you think about that, think about the fact that you can't do a cash out refi, and even refinancing the primary $400K loan requires you to follow the Dream program's guidelines and see if they'll even allow it and if they'll remain in that second position or not. Now, if you go to sell that property, let's say, for example, you go on that $500K home, it appreciates and it's worth $600,000 now. That's $100K gain, and you're like, oh wow, great equity. Well, 20% of that is the Dream programs. So now they get 120 on their one. You still owe your 400, right? So now you're at 80. You're gonna have fees involved with escrow, title, commissions, everything to sell. So now you go from 80 to maybe 40 grand. So on a 600K property where your primary loan is only 400 grand, out of that 200K equity, you're really only at 80. And out of that 80, because of the fees involved, you're really only walking away with 40, 50 grand. So now you're gonna think that you can sell and go buy something better, but you don't have the equity to leverage into a bigger down payment on the next property. So you're gonna be, for lack of a better word, stuck with this Dream program property until you can clear enough appreciation to not just pay off the primary, but pay off the Dream program with their 20%, 15%, whatever percentage it is of appreciation that they're taking from you, and then still have enough to reinvest into the next property. That's where it can be limiting. But is it going to give you a much better payment today? Absolutely. So I don't think there's I think there's pros and cons. I don't think it's a bad option or a good option. I think there's trade-offs, and I think you should really plan accordingly and think about not just what today's plan is, but your 5-10 year plan, and figure out if it makes sense to really do this program or not. And it's a lottery system. So if you don't get it, does that mean you completely give up on buying a house? Or do you adjust your plan? Do you explore other down payment assistance options? Or what is the direction you can go to position yourself to get something in the near future? So shoot me a DM, give me a call, let me know. I'm happy to go over all the scenarios with you. Let's talk about it. Is the Dream program good or bad? I don't think it's as simple as saying, oh, it's horrible or, oh, it's great. I think there's a trade-off. And I think if your goal is to buy now and you're going to stay in this property long-term, I think the Dream program can be great for you because you're going into it understanding, hey, I may not be in the greatest position to refinance in the near future, definitely not do a cash out refi. And then if I sell it, I have to give up some of that potential gain as well. But it puts you in a house today and it gives you a much more manageable payment in doing so. So if you're going to be there 5, 10, 20 years, it might be worth considering it as an option despite the downside on the back end. If you're someone who's trying to work your way up and maybe you're looking for an angle where you can buy a property, turn it into a rental or an investment, leverage against it, pull a HELOC out, do different things, this is going to be something that on the forefront will make it way easier to get into a property. But in the long run, I think it might give you some challenges on how you can actually use that asset to your advantage. And it might limit you. You might be a little stuck, right? Because if you're selling it and you're not able to clear enough profit to cover fees and then what you owe plus the appreciation, you're not going to be in a good position to buy the next house. And you're not going to have a big chunk of change to put down on the next property. So you're kind of stuck. You don't want to buy something and then when you're trying to upgrade, downgrade, right? Downsize because you can't afford the next leg up. because you don't have the equity you need for that down payment. So just different things that I think people should talk about, that I think people should put in perspective. I don't want it to seem like this is just some form of lead capture and I'm just trying to convince you to try this program. If you have real questions, I have real experience. I've worked with it in the past. I have successfully closed escrows with clients that have used the Dream program. But I do think it's important that whoever you're working with is transparent with you. I think it's important that you understand what you're getting into before you get into it, and that you don't fall in love with the headlines, but you make a calculated and educated decision that will honestly impact you for years to come. And it can be the difference between something that puts you in a great position, or it could be something that limits your options later. So something to consider, things to talk about. Feel free to shoot me a DM, give me a call. I'm happy to go over it with you. Registration does open February 24th. So if you do want to give it a shot or get some more info on it, reach out before then. Reach out to your favorite local lender, realtor, whatever. And if you don't have one, call me and we can get you going on it and explain the pros and cons in depth and put a plan together for you. Thank you.